Barclays in Himalayan foothills. Well versed with yogic and Vedic scriptures, he effortlessly expounds on the historic truths based on his own sadhana spanning 25 years. He is noted across the globe for his remarkable writings and discourse. Om Swami was born in North India and began showing a deep inclination towards spirituality at a very early age. By 12, he was conducting religious ceremonies. Om Swami's education and career were highly successful. At the age of 15, he was working as an editor for a regional business weekly. By 16, he had already started his software company. He wrapped up his business and moved to Sydney for higher education. He completed the 3-year Bachelors degree in 18 months. And at the age of 20, he was inducted in an honorary member of the exclusive International's Who's Who of Professionals Club. He pursued a Masters of Business in Master of Business Administration from University of Technology, Sydney, along with serving in executive roles in multinational corporations like News Corp, Dairy Farmers, Westfield, General Motors, and Barclays, and many others. Swami was featured in many technical and business magazines. He ran a highly successful software company for 7 years, with offices in Australia, USA, Canada, UK, and India. Om Swami subsequently moved back to India and ran a healthcare company. All the while, his spiritual side increasingly pulled at him, and in March 2010, Om Swami renounced everything, including all his business interests, to follow his inner calling. He was initiated into sannyasa by a Naga son before receiving the highest tantric initiations from a tantric yogi. Swamiji left for the Himalayas to completely immerse in his spiritual quest to verify the truth firsthand. For the next 1 year, Om Swami did extreme meditation and sadhana that involved complete isolation and solitude for months. He has written a range of books covering meditation, yoga, Ayurveda, relationship, and depression. He has narrated his extraordinary journey as an entrepreneur and later as a yogi in his best-selling memoir, If Truth Be Told. He writes weekly on a range of life and spiritual issues on his blog omswami.com. His blog has been awarded the Best Blog Award by the Indian Bloggers Awards. His talks are available on his YouTube channel Om Swami. Compassion is my religion and love my core philosophy, says Om Swami. This is very brief about him, and you may know more about him at his blog omswami.com. Now I request Om Swamiji to address the gathering. Thanks.
All of you can hear? Is it clear? That was a very long introduction. I didn't know what to say. So we'll call upon Mother Divine first. If that's okay, that's how I always start my discourse. Shri Vidya Shivam Bhag Nilaya Rinkar Mantro Jwala Shri Chakram Kit Bindu Madhyavasati Shri Matsabha Shrimat Shanmukha Vignaraj Janani Shrimat Jagan Mohini Meenakshim Pranatosmi Santatamam Karunyavaranidhi Sindhuraruna Vigraham Trinayana Manikya Raktotpalam bibrati Saumyam ratnagadastha rakta Dhyaye Parambika. All glories to the Divine. First of all, I offer my obeisance to the Divine in you, with whose grace we're all here right now, this moment. It wasn't planned for me to be here. And it wasn't even planned what topic I should be speaking about in this stage. So just a few days ago, when they contacted and talked about 3 or 4 topics, one of them was the art of success. And I thought I couldn't possibly pick a better topic to address an audience such as this. Because sometimes we underestimate the potential of an individual. Sometimes we take ourselves for granted, thinking maybe people who are successful out there, whether that's materially or spiritually successful people, that maybe they have something that we don't have. Right now, in this hall, we perhaps have some of the brightest minds in the country, maybe in the whole world. And you are the people who are going to go out there and make a difference to the world. It's with that mindset that I will speak whatever I will speak today. Everything you heard about me, that's commentary. My official introduction is I'm a simple man in a complex world. I find this world a very difficult place. But difficulty is always relative. It all comes down to one's state of mind. I have no capability to address anybody. I don't have any special wisdom to impart, no special knowledge. All I'm here to do is share my views, my perspective, or my perspectives with you. And it's merely with that mindset that I'm here. I call upon Mother Divine because God for me is not just a concept. God for me is a living experience that I live and breathe every moment of my life. Something I've experienced firsthand. Everything I say, there's only one promise I make. Everything I'm going to speak is going to be the truth as I know it. I'm not here to impress anybody or exaggerate my truth. I'm only here to tell you what I've seen of life and of various other scriptures and texts and so on and so forth. I'd like to start with my favorite story, in fact. It is said that when Buddha, the Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, gained enlightenment, he was walking by, and some people were sitting there, and they saw Buddha, and they saw the radiance on his face. And they said, here is somebody who's very different. And they couldn't resist themselves. They immediately approached Buddha and said to him, are you God? Are you God? And Buddha said, no, I'm not God. In fact, Buddha said, there is no God. There is no supreme soul. Everything is just consciousness and mind. They said, well, you must be a celestial being then. You must be some Gandharva. Buddha said, no, I am not the Gandharva either. Well, are you some enlightened saint? He said, no, I am not a saint. I am not the God. I am not a God. I am not a Gandharva. And I'm not even a saint. Who are you, the saints? There is something that's quite different between you and us. So you are not ordinary. And Buddha said, of course. By saying I'm not God, I'm not a Gandharva, and I'm not a celestial being, or I'm not any saint, I didn't mean to say that you and I are the same. Of course there is a difference, he said. There is a difference between you and I. And the difference is not much. It's not a great, a huge difference. It's a tiny difference, he said. The difference between you and I, said Buddha, is that you are sleeping and I am awake. The word Buddha means awakening, to be awake. And that's what's written in Bhagavad Gita. Yanisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagati sanyami yasyam jagati bhutani sahanisha pashyato. When the whole world is wide awake, the yogi, sanyami, the one who has patience, the one whose mind is one's control, such a person at that time sleeps. And the person, the yogi, when the yogi is awake, the whole world is sleeping. And this leads me to the beginning of my discourse today, which is there are going to be two types of success you can see in life. The first kind of success will put you to sleep. It's a blind pursuit of success. Like a wild elephant that runs amok in the woods, trampling on tender flowers, trampling on, stomping on other creatures of the woods, taking life because it has no control on itself. We call it the elephant has gone wild. The first pursuit of success is the wild pursuit. That is also the blind pursuit of success. That puts you to sleep. In that sleep, the only time you wake up is to fulfill your desires, your expectations. The second kind of success is the success that wakes you up to your real potential. You can be anything you want to be. You can be anybody you want to be. You are a master of infinite possibilities. And it's not just a matter of saying it. If you really look at the dawn of our history or the evolution, the growth, individuals have made all the difference. This world will repeatedly tell you that you are no good. Believe me. And some will tell you that with all the right intentions. They will tell you, you can't accomplish this, you can't do that. But every time, the one thing you have to remember is what matters to me. Focus. If your focus is diluted, everything will appear very difficult. If your focus is diluted, every single easy thing is hard. Even something as easy as making a dosa or a chapati or just deciding what to wear in the morning. But if your focus is there, then everything becomes easy. It just comes to you naturally. If you look at a gymnast, the one that bends her body effortlessly, that effortlessness has come after a great deal of focused effort. Anything you wish to champion in life, comes after a great deal of effort. And that's the only way I know of succeeding in anything you do, is that you don't give up. But in your pursuit, it's very important to know that A, there are going to be distractions. B, there is going to be criticism. C, there are going to be conflicts. And D, there are going to be a lot of challenges, hurdles, blocks. And every time you have a choice to say, I give up, or I choose to continue. Success is not always the outcome. Sometimes success is a matter of choice. If you choose to succeed, nobody can stop you from succeeding. It may take longer than usual, but if you don't give up, you cannot fail. In the States, there's this really famous program called Larry King Live. I'm sure you must have heard of it, hopefully. This guy Larry King, the anchor, one time he interviewed Bill Gates. And he said to Bill Gates, he said, Bill, you have 4 limbs like the rest of us. You have a pair of eyes, you have 2 ears. How on earth did you become the richest man on the planet? What's so weird about you? How did you turn into the success story you did? What was so remarkable that you did? That you became the richest man, and you still are the richest man. All these years, decades have passed, but nobody has been able to move you from your position. And Bill said, you see, Larry, I was at the right place at the right time. And Larry said, that explains it. It's luck, isn't it? You were at the right place at the right time, and that's how you became rich. And Bill Gates said, yes, Larry, of course. But that's not all. There were many people who were at the same place as me at the same time. So it's not just luck. Not only was I at the right place at the right time, I also had the right vision. I said, now that completes the circle. You were at the right place at the right time with the right vision. And that's how you became rich. Is that what you're saying? And Bill Gates said, yes, Larry. But that's not all. Not only was I at the right place at the right time and had the right vision, I also took immediate and massive action. There were a lot of people who were there at the same place at the same time, huge corporations with the same vision, but they just sat there thinking and deliberating and cogitating and just thinking and daydreaming. And the only difference between a dream and a goal, any dream that you work towards becomes your goal. It's easy to dream, it's so easy to want stuff in life. But there are 5 elements in play that eternally work together to bring anything to fruition. Adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha vidam devadash cheshta devam cha vatra pancham. Krishna says, Panchatani mahabaho karanani nivodhame sankhya kritante proktani siddhe sarvakarma. To make anything happen in life, anything, to lead a life of your dreams, there are 5 things in play. First is adhisthana. What is your approach towards yourself, towards your goal, towards your success? Second is karta, your mindset. Are you somebody who's going to break in one blow? Or are you somebody who can inflate his chest or her chest and say, give me what all you can, show it to me? It's up to you. It's so easy to break, to say, I can't do it, I've had enough. But to say, look, here I'm standing, my head is bloody but unbound. My head is bloody but unbound. You know that William Henley's poem. I've not winced nor cried aloud. It matters not how straight the gate, he says, how charged with punishments the scroll. Take it as a given that nothing's going to come on a plate for you. Nothing. Nothing worthwhile in life will ever come on a plate for you. Everything worthwhile requires that you work towards it, you adapt it, you adopt it, you absorb it, and you learn to live with it. So you can grow, and so you can pass on. So he says, it matters not how straight the gate, that it doesn't matter how narrow the gate is, how charged with punishments the scroll. It doesn't matter how many challenges await me. I'm the master of my fate. I'm the captain of my soul. If you look at a railway, a train, you can either be the engine or you can be one of the compartments. You decide, what do you want to be? The engine or the bogie? If you are the engine, if you have that confidence, you will lead automatically. The path carves out for those who don't give up. But here's the fundamental difference I want to tell you about success that makes you blind versus success that wakes you up to your potential. If you pay attention now, if I'm able to get this across, then nothing is impossible for you. And it's not so much your limitation, but perhaps mine, if I fail to communicate what I want to say now. Some people live their life in the external world. The external world matters to them whole and soul. Everything about the external world matters to them. They need that recognition in the external world. They need that fame, that power, that glory, that appreciation, that recognition, that wealth, and so on and so forth in the external world. Only when things happen externally, somebody tells them, oh, you're great, or wow, you're phenomenal, wow, you're brilliant, wow, you're very beautiful, or you're pretty, or you're handsome, and so on and so forth, they feel really good. And it makes them so good that they change the pursuit, they change the course of their life to continue to please the external world. That's one set of people who find their meaning in the external world, in everything that is outside. And then you have the other set of people who find their meaning in the inner world, not in the outer world. They delve deep within. If you look at the likes of Einstein or even Newton, or even Steve Jobs for that matter, or even Bill Gates for that matter, or even Mahatma Gandhi, or Ramana Maharishi, or the Prophet, or Christ, or Krishna, most notably Buddha. These were the people who lived in their inner world. The world told them, you guys are no good. People spat at them, people criticized them, people went against them, but these were the people who lived in their inner world. For them, the inner world, the internal feelings, emotions, thoughts, desires, expectations, sentiments, those things mattered to them more. If you are in harmony with your inner world, in your inner world, then the external world, you will just breeze through it. It will just run through any challenge, any new thing you want to learn, anything you want to gain in your life. It will just be a piece of cake. Trust me on this one. When I first went to Sydney, I struggled to get a job. I was absolutely struggling. Nobody gave me any job. And I was there on student visa. And then, by sheer luck, if you want to know more, you can read my memoir. I won't bore you with the details. I got my first job as a telemarketer, where you call all day. And just the third day, because I wanted to go my own way in terms of lining up customers for them, they had a process which I wasn't willing to follow, or I was too naive to follow. I was 19 back then. He swore at me and he chucked me out of his company. You know, it was the first time somebody said to me, F you, you know. And I wasn't prepared for that. But I was outside, a weak person. There was nothing I could give back to him at that time. And nothing I even wanted to give back to him, because I just didn't know how to respond to such a situation. And it's a story of everybody's life, I think. Somewhere you meet somebody who just is totally blind. Or maybe you are totally blind. Maybe I was totally blind. So I went. Nevertheless, I got another job a few weeks later, paying me $15 an hour. But, you know, I didn't sit there and think, wow, got a job as a programmer, $15 an hour, good enough. You know, I just kept pursuing, and it didn't bother me what people had to say about me, what people had to think about me, and the rest. 2 years later, I was making $250,000 a year. That was my package. And I quit that job a little while later to start my own company. I thought I was very good. But the market thought otherwise. In 3 months, I ran out of everything. And I was up against the wall. And I didn't know what to do. I thought I was brilliant, but the market said, yeah, but we're not giving any business, no contracts. And it was just the time of the crash as well, the dot-com crash. So I bought a newspaper, only a few times in my life. After I moved to Sydney, I bought newspapers. This was one of them. I started calling again companies for a job. And I found one, but I already started my own product development. Because somewhere I knew I had to do what I had to do. And that clarity comes when your inner world is clear. You see, if you have confusions in life, which each one of us does, we have to find a way to clear that confusion, to clear that mist so we may see, trees from woods. Until there is that clarity in the inner world, the outer world will appear a very difficult place. It's going to be very hard to adjust in the outer world. And the two are not really separate. But when you are powerful in your inner world, then truly there is nothing stopping you. And I'm not saying you should not pursue material success. Not at all. Maybe through your success, if Bill Gates hadn't pursued, he wouldn't be the philanthropist he is today. Mullah Nasruddin's father was dying. And on his deathbed, he said to his son, he said, listen, Mullah, money is not everything, son. Don't run after the money, okay? Don't run after money. It's not the solution to all the problems. He said, Father, Abbajan, he said, I agree. Money is not the solution to all the problems. But I tell you what, the problems that come with money are much better than the problems that come without money. So I'd rather have those problems where I'm loaded, but I have a lot of problems in my life, than I am absolutely poor and have problems in my life. Poverty is not a glorious thing. It's not by any stretch of imagination. There is nothing beautiful about it. And I've seen those days as well, where you really struggle to get a square meal, or you do away with a drink in a day, or just a coffee, or maybe just a couple of biscuits or bread. That was not even by choice. There was austerities I practiced by choice later on in my life. When I was in the Himalayas meditating, sometimes I would just eat snow and go back into my meditation. So 22 hours of meditation out of 24. good music. So 22 hours of meditation out of 24. 10 hours of straight stretch sitting like this. Because I'd embarked on a journey quite unusual. I said, if there is God, I want to see that God. Whether that's samadhi, maybe, but I want to see a form. If my concentration can manifest a form, I'd like to see that form. And all the sadhus and stuff I would meet, they would tell me that I was crazy. And I had no doubt about that, I was crazy. But I said, do or die. I would either die or I would get up knowing what I wish to know, get up seeing what I wish to see. If you don't give up and remain focused, even God manifests for you. Even God is bound to mark His presence in front of you. And I'm not reading out of some text. This is my first-hand experience. God can manifest for those who don't give up. And tell you what else is left. You need to have that clarity. You have to make that choice. You have to have that inner vision to say, is my inner world going to drive my external world? Or is my outer world going to create my inner world? Somebody will come and say you are good, you feel happy. Somebody comes and say you are terrible, you feel bad. Are you going to keep allowing this world to keep tossing you between negative and positive, good and bad, right and wrong, moral and immoral, hot and cold, high and low, thick and thin, and so on and so forth? Or are you going to say, you know what? I am not going to let anybody determine or dictate the way I feel about myself. And that's entirely in your hands. There's a story I wrote on a blog a while back, a long time ago. There was this monk. He said to his guru, he said, Master, I've been meditating for years, and still I feel great when people heap praises on me, and I feel very bad. I feel angry when they criticize me. And I'm sick and tired of feeling good and bad, good and bad, good and bad every day. Always other people somehow affecting the way I feel about myself, I think about myself, and so on. He said, I'm sick and tired of this. What do I do? The Guru said, all right, my son, here's the key. Gives him a key. And here's an address. He said, go to this place and meditate there for just 72 hours. Don't move, don't speak, he said. Observe silence, keep the door open. So he thinks my Guru has sent me to this place where, somewhere in the Himalayas or somewhere remote, where I'll just go and meditate in peace. But as he walks towards the address, he finds that it's actually a very busy marketplace. And there's an alleyway, there a passage. He opens the door, and there he smells this stench. A really terrible stench. So, has my Guru gone mad? It's a common feeling if you follow Guru, by the way. So he said, has my Guru gone mad? Has he gone senile? Where has he sent me? This place? Anyway, it's his order, so I will meditate. He spreads his asana, he sits there, and sits down to meditate. And a million worries engulf him immediately. He starts to think, what if my Guru is actually mad? I'm just following him. And he says, what if, he is dead by the time I get back. Who will answer my questions? And he thinks, what's going to happen to the cave I left behind if somebody takes over? How will I check that person out? What if I don't realize anything at the end of 72 hours? What's this, what's that, and all those questions coming. And then he hears this sound. The sound of a flushing toilet. It's a flushing toilet. He looks up and there's plumbing running through. He says, oh, there's a washroom just up. Where I'm sitting beneath a washroom. The most sacred place on the planet. And then, a few minutes later, he hears the same sound again. Another few minutes, same sound again. And then he realizes why there's a stench here, because it was actually dripping. The plumbing. Now he's really worried. He's thinking, my God, if this thing breaks, I'm in deep shit. Literally. He said, if this thing breaks, I am done for. But he says, no, it's my Guru's order. I'm sure he will take care, this thing won't break. It's amazing where all people think about the Gurus. He said, this thing won't break, it will keep me out of shape. This thing won't break, so I must meditate. He continues to build his focus. 2 days later, because 72 hours is 3 days, 2 days later, this thing actually does break. Mercury's law in action. So it breaks, and as you can imagine, all sorts of stuff lands on him. And he's sitting there in the glory of God, thinking, what should I do? Should I just get up and tell my Guru what a disaster it has been? Or should I continue to meditate? Confusion, choices you have to make at every step of the way. But he says, no, I must continue. 3 days, he's ordered me, and there has to be reason behind it. He did tell me I'll gain a unique perspective by the time I finish my 3 days of intense meditation. So he stays there, does not move. And it's a complete toilet, don't forget that. So people don't know what's happening downstairs, and they keep flushing it every 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Thanks to all the fast food restaurants close by. On the 3rd day, when his meditation was about to end, 2 people were passing through the alleyway, the corridor. And they looked at him because the door was open. That was also Guru's instruction. They said, who is this guy? That's so disgusting. What on earth is he doing there? Look, he is smeared in feces. And the other guy said, well, I don't know. Some people say he's a holy man, unaffected by anything, he's just meditating. And some say he's a shithead, and I don't know which one to believe. So they walk by. This monk has a deep realization. He understands in this world, everybody will have an opinion about you. Everybody. People who don't even know you. People will have an opinion on the way you look, the way you talk, what you wear, what religion you practice or don't practice, on your beliefs, on everything about you, and on everything they know about you, and on everything they don't know about you. And there are only 2 types of opinion they can have. Nobody is neutral about anything in life, There is nothing called a neutral opinion. It's always leaning towards, like a pendulum. It's neutral for a very fraction of a second, then moves to this side or that side. So people will have one of the 2 opinions about you. Some will say you're a holy person. And some will say you're a shithead. If you are doing anything in life, and this is the crux of the matter when it comes to the art of success. If you are doing anything in life to change the opinions of others about you, you will fail. I promise you. you will fail, you will be the greatest failure. Because you may fix 6 opinions and 60 others will sprout. That conviction in the inner world, that opinions of the other people don't really matter to me. Maybe somewhat. Or maybe you pick and choose whose opinion matters to you and whose doesn't. I'm not saying you become rebellious and say, I don't have to listen to anybody. That you do anyway, I don't have to tell you that. I'm just saying you reflect within. And you maybe pick and choose 1 or 2 people who matter to you in your life. But don't bother with the opinions of the rest, because they will categorize you as a holy person or as an absolutely terrible person. There is not a third opinion they can carry. And the world's biggest democracies prove this. People just follow whatever others are following without using any mind of their own. I forgot who said this. He said, you will stop worrying about what people think about you the day you realize how little they think. People are not really thinking. If you want to succeed in anything that you undertake, then you have to believe in yourself. And that belief cannot come by just self-affirmation. You can't say, look, I'm very good, I've got it all covered. It won't happen that way. You have to have that substance in you to inculcate that belief in every pore of your existence. Otherwise, that belief will be a false belief. One wave of adversity and just wash ashore. Instead, you want to be a rock, who can just withstand storms, because life will make you pass through all sorts of storms, at a personal level, at an emotional level, at a professional level, at an interpersonal level. And I'd like to conclude by saying, ultimately, the real success is inner harmony. If you are in harmony inside, then you are successful. Because such a person will spread fragrance. Such a person will help others. Such a person will also help himself or herself. I always say everybody is a balloon. Some are full of fragrance, and some are full of crap. It's when you are pricked and you burst, what comes out of you determines what was actually in you to begin with. So you decide what it is that you want to fill yourself with. You are your own greatest friend and your own worst enemy. That's what this verse means that I just said. And the second one was, if your mind is going according to you, you are your friend. If you are running after your mind, you are your own enemy. Because mind is very talkative. It just does not shut up. 60,000 thoughts in the span of 24 hours, across 21,600 breaths. If you learn the art of making your mind listen to you, focus, concentration, effort, productivity comes naturally. If you are constantly battling with your mind, or you're trying that your mind should listen to you, but it ends up that you're listening to your mind, then you'll be eternally distracted. And the amount of work you can get done in life depends on how focused you are in anything that you do. So above all, lead a meaningful life in harmony. Understand that just like you, everybody has opinions. Everybody has a right to live. the way they want. Live and let live, really. And success is in your hands. There is some part of it that is in the hands of unknown forces. By that I'm not saying somebody's up there calling the shots, saying, I'm going to make this guy fail or I'm going to give this guy success. No. I'm saying, well, you only control so much in life. But the things we do control, we should make every attempt to harness, to channelize those things. And the things we don't control, you can make a conscious attempt to be in harmony with those things. With that inner peace, you will experience what really is success. It's not just building wealth or making money or building companies. That's not really the definition of success. That is only one of the definitions of success. Real success is when your presence makes you feel beautiful about you, when your presence makes others feel beautiful about themselves. I'll just quickly tell this incident I once heard. This person was a disciple of Neem Karoli Baba. He used to live in Uttarakhand. And he said, you know what, Baba loved everybody. He said, and that wasn't surprising for me because it's the job of saints to love everybody. He said, that was okay. He said, what amazed me the most is that when I was in his presence, I loved everybody. And that's really what success is, if you ask me. When in your presence, somebody feels comforted, somebody feels valued, somebody feels secure, somebody feels loved, somebody feels content, somebody feels content, somebody feels I belong to somebody. That is success, according to nature. Because according to nature, nature is only interested in what helps it grow. When you help somebody beyond yourself, nature is immediately interested in you. It's a seed that's going to sprout and become a tree laden with fruits. Nature is not interested in somebody who's constantly holding on to his own life, his own thoughts, his own desires. Anything you want to grow, you have to learn to spread it. Anything you spread will grow. In a small farm, you put 50 seeds, maybe 40 plants will come out. In a large farm, you put 500,000 seeds, 400,000 will come out. Anything you want to grow in life, whatever it is, you share it, and it will grow. So on that note, I will, what's the time finish? So we can take some questions from the audience.
Thank you, Swamiji, for this graceful discourse. I hope it has motivated everyone and has been understanding the overall around the world success. Our volunteers has passed on slips, so if you have a question, please write it down and hand over to our volunteers.
Can we get started? Because we're short on time.
Yeah, so we can take the first question first.
Shakti.
We will have first. We will take the written questions.
So
Time.
there's a reason why I discourage asking questions, because it becomes kind of a talk show then. And one person is interested in their question, but others are not. And then I'm responding, and they're saying, "But what happens this? What happens then?" Here. So instead, I would rather have you be clear about what we want to ask and we address it. But if there was more time, we could have done that. But we have to finish by 5
20.
5:20. Okay, so I think we have enough for now. How to control our mind. I've written a fair bit about it, and I've also spoken a fair bit about it. You have to go on my YouTube channel or go to my blog omswami.com and just put your question there in the search box and something will come up. I'll give you very briefly one answer. There's only one thing I've championed in my whole life. It's not building companies, it's not being successful, nothing. And that's meditation. I only know how to meditate. In my introduction it was said I'm well conversed with Vedic scriptures and all that. I don't claim that. There's only one thing I know, and that is how to meditate. And the effects that come from meditation, I've demonstrated those effects under lab conditions. So I will tell you in simple words how to control your mind. Your mind is like a toddler. It is forever going in different directions. When it goes south, bring it back to your object of focus. When it goes north, bring it back to your object of focus. That's the only way to control your mind. If you start analyzing your thoughts, if you start analyzing, oh, I'm thinking this, why is it happening to me, why did that happen to me, and so on and so forth, you won't be able to control your mind. It will drag you with immense force and it will create what's called feelings in you. When a thought comes to your mind, if you don't abandon that thought, it either becomes an emotion or it becomes a desire. If you don't abandon the thought, if I think of a cup of tea, for example, if I don't drop the thought that moment and continue to focus on what I should, then I'd feel like I want to have tea. And if that becomes my desire, if I drop tea at that moment, it won't bother me. And the only thing it requires is mindfulness, that alertness, that it's just a thought, I don't have to act on it. If my mind says, please lift these slips here, and I say to my mind, okay, you do it, but I'm not lifting my hands to do this act. Mind has no power, mind can't lift it on its own. It's that understanding that you are not just the mind, but something and somebody beyond it that will take you there. Some of you told what we should do and why we should do, but how do we do? How to bring harmony with inner self? Sorry, I just know this. When your speech, your mind, and your actions are in sync with each other, you will be in harmony. And this is not an original idea, this was said by Gandhi. If you change your external behavior, it's a very key point I'm telling you. If you pay attention, you will know what I mean. If you change your external behavior, your inner thoughts will start to change on its own. You know, when you're angry, mad at somebody, if you actually start walking slow, talking slow at that point in time, just start smiling, your inner state will start to change. So either you change your inner world and you'll be in harmony with the outer world, or you start to make changes in the outer world and your inner world will start to come in harmony. If you remove clutter, go check your washroom tomorrow, maybe, or today. Just see if your shampoo bottles are open and conditioner is open and soap is, bubbly sitting there, and just see your desk. If there is clutter there, I promise you, you are in a confused state of mind. Go verify it, validate it. You are somebody who gets upset like that, who snaps at the drop of a hat. You are somebody who experiences a deep arousal of anger, and you are somebody who also gets carried away by thoughts of lust. Your washroom and your desk will speak for it. Go check and you will know what I mean. So remove the clutter from the outer world, and the inner one will start to purify itself. Purify the inner world, and the outer one will start to purify itself. What can we learn from success? That everything is temporary. Nothing will last forever. Could you describe the highest form of yoga you have done? Knowledge of how to practice it? The highest form of yoga, it's not something you do. It's something that happens to you. I've said it many times that meditation is an act only in the beginning. After a while, it becomes a state. It becomes a phenomenon. When Patanjali says yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi, dhyan is an act of concentration, a type of meditation. But then samadhi is also meditation. It's something that happens to you. You lost me at God will manifest. I hope I found you afterwards, but are you self-realized? I want binary answer, yes, no. You have the right to ask me a question. You don't have the right to tell me how I want to answer it. Sorry, you're hearing that. It's no windbreaker here. So, I am never ever bothered by anybody's question. People ask me all sorts of questions. Besides, I don't believe there's anything called a dumb question. There's only a dumb answer. I hope I didn't give you one of those. So, you have the right to choose which question you want to ask. I have the right to choose which question I want to answer. Am I self-realized? Here's what I tell you that. Here's what I tell you on this question. And it's not the first time somebody's asking me. I'm not a computer that I'll give you a binary yes or no. And you're not a calculator that you register my electrical discharge on that, You're a human being. You haven't asked me this question in a binary form, but you're asking a binary answer. And yes or no is not binary, 1 and 0 is, by the way. So, if you feel peace in my presence, if you feel a subtle transformation taking place in your presence, then my tapas, my fire is real. If you don't, then please know it's not something that's lacking in you. It's something that's lacking in me. So if you don't experience anything, I am not self-realized. That's the answer. If you experience something, then you decide if my fire is real or not. But I will tell you one thing. I have no mission, I have no vision. I am not on any grand vision to build infrastructure or to build movements or to teach you any kriyas or to say, do this and you will find God. None of that. There is nothing that I want from this world. In 1 year, I only meet people roughly 30 to 40 days in the whole year. That's how much I meet people generally. I like to be in my own time, in my own solitude. I like to reach out to people using my writings. And that's what I do. Anybody in whose presence you experience love, peace, you are in the presence of a self-realized person, simple as that. That person could be dressed like an ordinary person, that person could be all fancy in a robe, doesn't matter. And the question should not be, am I self-realized? The question should be, are you self-realized? And the answer is, you turn off your phone, your laptop, you get off all social media, your internet connectivity and so on, lock yourself in a room with a bit of food, and stay there for 48 hours. No reading, nothing doing, just you in your own company. And tell me if you feel bored, restless, or happy and in bliss. If you feel happy in your own company, the whole world will feel happy in your company. If you don't feel happy in your own company, don't expect others to love you. Because you are bored with yourself, on earth I'm supposed to like you. What's all this that not needing to get married? You have to ultimately say, this person is my life partner, now I'm done. You still, of course, fool around. But you say, this is my primary commitment. Did you realize God? If you did, why are you doing what you're doing? What am I doing? Please tell me. I'm trying to figure out what am I doing, what I'm doing. How to know the inner calling. When inner calling comes, in the beginning, it's like not so loud. You can ignore it. You can drown it in the pursuit of your desires. But as you progress, as you continue to ignore it, it starts to become louder and louder and louder and louder and louder and louder, and then some. And then one day you know, I can't ignore it anymore. You really can't ignore it at that point in time. And then you say, I know exactly what I have to do. Maybe somewhere Buddha had that inner calling for acting the way he did. Maybe somewhere other people had that inner calling for making significant choices in their lives. So you decide yours to be the time. How does one go about clearing the inner confusion? Always remember that it doesn't matter what decision you take. The outcome may not always be what you expect it to be. So inner confusion is eliminated by committing to something, a path. You dig 10 feet somewhere and you don't get water, you go to another place, dig another 10 feet, you don't get water, you go to another place, dig another 10 feet, another 10 feet. 6 places you dig 60 feet but no water. Instead you stay at one place and keep digging, keep chiseling water, keep digging, and water will come out one day. Please tell us your view on different religions. I can only give you a very short answer, of course, given the time. In terms of spirituality, religion is an invention. It's a creation of human minds. When it comes to being spiritual, religion has practically no significance. Experiencing the divine, experiencing God, or experiencing self-realization, that is a matter of discovery. If you go after what you have invented or others have invented, it will not fulfill you. Only when you discover, you get that, oh, I see again. In Zen, it's called satori, the instant epiphany. But the gradual realization comes when you transcend above all religions to begin with. Now, there are Abrahamic religions in the world that believe in one God, and that, for example, in Christianity, Christ was a prophet, a Messiah. In Islam, Muhammad was a prophet. And there are, in Judaism, they believe in Abraham as God. And there are those religions that believe in the existence of multiple gods. Sanatana Dharma is one of them, because it says God can have many forms. Everybody sitting here is God. Everything is God. That was the Vedic way of life. That who's to say that God does not exist in everything? Absolutely everything. So therefore, I look upon everything as God. All religions basically require or say this: surrender to your God's will. And that God is the creator. And that God calls the shots many times. So my view on different religions is, if you get inner strength by practicing rituals, or by practicing a certain religion, whatever that may be, there is no harm in practicing it. But if it makes you rigid, if it makes you blind, if it makes you feel, look, everybody is a lesser mortal because I am now practicing this, then you should take a hard look. Somebody asked the Dalai Lama, he said, why do you meditate every day? Such a waste of time sitting around doing nothing. And the Dalai Lama said, well, the religion I practice, it believes in an afterlife. If there is truly an afterlife, he said, then I'm all set. Because I've been following my, tenets of the religion, and I know tenets, and I know that I will end up at the right place. And if there is no afterlife, he said, what the hell, it's not such a bad thing to do anyway, it's better than getting at somebody. Is marriage a pre-written or compulsory one, or can be avoided? It depends if you marry the right person or the wrong one. Very recently, I wrote on my blog, this person went for an interview, and he said, what's the difference between something that's just complete or finished? Difference between complete and finished. And he said, well, if you marry the right woman, you are complete. If you marry the wrong one, you're finished. See, nobody can force you to get married. Parents can put pressure on you, society can put pressure on you, your girlfriend or your boyfriend can put pressure on you, but nobody can force you to get married. If you believe in astrology, although that's not the topic of the intention here, but my horoscope says I will be married by 26 or 28, so on and so forth. I should have little ones playing around here by now, but I didn't marry. Nobody can force me to marry. Nobody can force you to do anything in life other than do yourself. If God is so sacred, why is there filth in His creation, like poverty, diseases, violence, etc.? That's something, most of it is what we have created. God hasn't created. God is not out there littering around our campus. It's us and this very rubbish thought that somehow God is responsible for everything that happens to us. It's actually juvenile, it's childish, it's plainly dumb. You are responsible for the actions you carry out. God is not out there bombing countries and blowing up people. Human beings are doing it. So, how can God solve something that He didn't create to do? How to balance material and spiritual success? How can we succeed in both? You be mindful. You do that with mindfulness. You do that with mindfulness that anything I do has an impact on others around me. As simple as that. What was the objective / goal or reason why God created man and all this? It was an experiment that went pretty bad. Why did you go to the humanity in spirituality while other places say Delhi? Please not Delhi. Chennai. So, what is so special with them? I was studying this yesterday or day before as well, that there comes a time when you, if you want to learn swimming, sooner or later you have to jump in the pool. There is no other way. So I was looking for a place of extraordinary solitude. For 7 months, right? First I lived in a cave for a couple of months, then I lived in the woods for 7 months in a broken down hut. I wanted to see what fears were still left in me. I wanted to see what was I really made of. I wanted to see what would silence of the mind bring eventually. I could not have done that in the city. You know, when you are sitting in a very comfortable setting, your mind is thinking about all sorts of beautiful things. It's thinking about, you know, is my phone off? Have I replied to this email? I have to send this assignment in, or I have to speak to this professor. This guy's a disaster. That one's so pretty, and so on and so forth. I'm really hungry. I've got to get up. You know, all those things you go through. But when you are sitting in a place where there's just you and nobody else, your mind is a different ballgame altogether. And I tell you what, in India, what's even harder than practicing solitude is to find solitude. It's everywhere you go, people, everywhere. You know, there's so many people. It's just like you can't find a place where you can just be by yourself. And I wasn't so trained, put it this way, maybe some of you are excellent meditators, I wasn't. I needed physical solitude to delve into my inner world. And that's why I chose the Himalayas. In the middle of the night, sometimes when I would finish my 10-hour stretch at 2 or 3 a.m., I would step outside. It would be snowing totally. Just nobody. just wild animals, some of them would run away, some of them would stay, some of them would make all sorts of sounds and noises. And I wanted to know if I still was so desperate for my own life, if I still clung to my own life, could I let it go? So environment plays a big role. Now I am doing a lecture here. Imagine if I gathered all of you out there in the middle of the road, somewhere where buses are honking and people are shouting and they're going on, they're speeding on the road and all that. Imagine having that discourse there. You see the difference? That's why mental illness. What is actually tapasya? What does it involve? Tapasya is of three types: restraint of the speech, restraint of the mind, and restraint of your actions. That's basically tapas. There are things you don't want to do in life. There are things you want to do in life. Balancing between what you want to do versus what you have to do is tapasya. Living in this world is a tapasya in fact. How has your journey to the Himalayas enlightened you about the truth of life? I've already addressed this question, and please read my memoir, The Truth Be Told is the name. Why does everybody go to the Himalayas for tapasya? I don't know why everybody goes, why I went, I've already shown. When is the Indian version of your book, All Is Well, released? So it's coming out at the end of this month. In fact, the title is When All Is Not Well. It's my book on depression. So it's coming out, it's being brought out by HarperCollins. It'll be out this month. What's the time? Oh, so we have to close it. Sorry, I wanted to address these questions. So in one word, by no to all these. Because we're out of time. So can I just close it my way? So I'll just so thank you very much, everybody. I hope it was worthwhile for you to be here. It certainly was worthwhile for me in the sense, out of all these people here, if one person felt that I know now something that I didn't know earlier, then my job is done. I'm not out there to change anybody or a group of people or anybody. So I came here for you, and I say this with complete humility and sincerity. I'm not here for me. I'm not here because I want anything. I'm only here because I thought, okay, maybe my words will make a difference. If I offended anybody in any way, I apologize, but it was completely intentional.
Thank you, Swamiji, for this lively session, including the notes. I request Professor Srinivasan K, faculty in charge of reflections, IIT Madras, to felicitate Swamiji for the event. Thank you, sir. Now I invite our volunteer Bhagwas to present more things.
We are very grateful to Swamiji for his graceful and insightful discourse on the most sought topic of education, art of success. We are thankful to him for writing. Excuse me, please, we have some more announcements. Please wait a second.
Please look at some people.
We are thankful to him for agreeing to visit us at such a short notice. This wonderful event was possible only due to so many dedicated hands and hearts. I, Bharatwaj, take this opportunity to extend our gratitude to them. Initiated by Dr. Ashish Sanani Om from Harvard, it was well executed by a band of volunteers led by Abhijit Sahu and Ajay Chahal, timely support from Shri Ganesh Om and Shekhalal Om, along with Shri Ramchandran Ji and Sarala Ji from Tattva Loka Chennai, made this event a reality. We are very thankful to Reflections Faculty Advisor, Professor Srinivas A. and Dr. Parag Ravindan sir for their unconditional support. Our respected Dean of Students, Professor Shivkumar and Professor Vedas need special mention for their guidance and financial support. Dean ICSR and our Director deserve our gratitude for all the facilities provided to us. Managers of this hall and the gentlemen behind the camera need our applause. And most important, we thank you, our dear audience and guests, for encouraging us with your patience and presence. Thank you and have a good evening.
I have two announcements. First one is a free copy of Tattva magazine is available with our volunteers. If anyone of you want, please take it. And Swamiji's memoir, if truth be told, is also available with our volunteers. If anyone of you want, please stay back. Thanks all, and session is